اللهم ارزقني فيه رحمة الأيتام وإطعام الطعام وإفشاء السلام وصحبة الكرام بقولك يا ملجأ الآمنين بقولك يا ملجأ الآمنين.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We're at day number 8 of the Blessed Month of Ramadhan, and today our topic from Ramadhan Reflections is on kindness to the orphans. Now, many of us who live in Western countries, in the so-called developed world, we really don't think about orphans too much, just as we don't think about poor, needy people too much, because they're usually out of sight and so therefore they're out of mind. But for those who reflect on the Quran and who read the Quran and the Hadith on a regular basis and who watch the news of what's happening around the world on a daily, hourly occurrence, you'll know that orphans are present anywhere in the world, especially in war-torn regions that we see within the Middle East, within East Asia, within Africa, and many other parts of this world that we inhabit today. The Quran has spoken about the orphans in so many cases, and we've been advised so many times in the Quran to take care of the orphan, to help bring them up, to maintain their financial affairs until they reach the age of maturity and can take care of things on their own. But today we want to focus just on a few sayings from the leaders of Islam, the Prophet and the infallibles, may God's peace and blessings be upon all of them, to deal with the orphan. Our first hadith comes from the commander of the faithful, Imam Ali, peace be upon him, where he has been quoted as saying the following: by Allah, I advise you in regards to the orphans, do not ever let it be that sometimes they remain full and at other times they are suffering in hunger, and ensure that you do not trample upon their rights. Unfortunately, we live in these societies. Well, fortunately, we live in these societies, but unfortunately, we don't really see orphans around us on a day-to-day basis. But if you have an opportunity to travel to many of the countries of the world that have faced wars over the last many decades, you will see orphanages. You will see maybe orphans in the street. You will meet people who are orphans themselves, who are taking care of these young children, young boys and girls. And we have to reflect on this, that we may be fortunate that our children are brought up with a mother and a father. Our communities are not rife with orphans, but there are children around the world who do not have a mother, a father, such individuals to bring them up, to nurture them, to take care of them, to give them the love and affection that a child needs and so deserves in those young years of life. A hadith also we have, which talks about the importance of the orphan, tells us the following: Allah will make paradise incumbent upon that person who takes care of an orphan until that orphan becomes independent, just as Allah would relegate to the hellfire the one who misappropriates the property of an orphan. So it's important to spiritually take care of an orphan, give them the love, the support that they need as they're growing up. But it's also equally important to ensure that we don't take the rights away from them. They have an inheritance from their parents, for example. They may have a source of income coming to them. And if you're taking care of the orphans, then you need to also be careful that you deal with them in terms of their economic requirements. They have maybe income, they have some support, material support coming to them. You have to keep that in safe protection, not to waste it on them, not to waste it on yourself. And many other things that have been mentioned in the hadith about how to deal with the orphans within our society. I end with another hadith, a saying of Prophet Muhammad, may God's peace and blessings be upon him, in which he's shown us the status of one who takes care of an orphan. And this should be enough of a wake-up call for you and I to look around our communities and look online to see individuals who are helping orphans in Iraq, in Afghanistan, in Pakistan, in so many parts of the world. The Prophet has told us the following. He says, I and the person who takes care of an orphan will be like these two fingers in paradise, meaning next to one another. This shows us the rank of helping an orphan, that the Prophet is saying that you would be at his rank. You would be at a level in paradise equivalent to him if you take care of the orphans of your society. And as we continue in this blessed month of Ramadan, when many of us have our mothers, our fathers, our family around us, our loved ones with us, let us remember that there are orphans around the world who don't have this luxury, who don't have a family to come home to. And in this month of Ramadan, let us open up our hearts and our wallets to support the numerous charities that are doing good work to help the orphans around the world. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.